Hello once again, players of good video games. My name is Nick Pell, and this is my review for episode 2 of The Wolf Among Us. Now, I will be going into spoilers in this review, so if you have not played the first episode of The Wolf Among Us, obviously there will be spoilers from that. And then towards the end of the video, I will be going into the ending of episode 2. So if you haven't played episode 2, I would suggest not watching until the very end of the video, or else you will get things spoiled for you. So, episode 2 opens directly after the events of episode 1, in which we find Big B being interrogated, more or less, by the police after Snow White's decapitated head is found on his front porch. You do a small back and forth with Big B, and then Crane walks in, puts the whole station to sleep, and essentially breaks you out to help him track down Snow White's killer. You go into the interrogation holding of whoever you ended up capturing towards the end of episode 1, so that is either the woodsman or Tweedledee, and you can choose to interrogate them nicely or interrogate them cruelly, and depending on what you do, I'm pretty sure you probably get the same information, because the story has to go in a certain direction. But after that, Snow White is revealed to be alive. She walks in on the interrogation, and that's where the opening credits go. From there, it's essentially figuring out who tried to kill Snow White, who who the actual victim was, and tracking down the actual killer. And by the end of the episode, we do find out who the supposed killer is. So in terms of story, the game is actually really, really well done. It keeps the dramatic feel that the first one had, and which made it so much fun to play alive. Snow White and Big B's interactions are still really interesting to deal with, in terms of if you want to be an asshole or if you want to be a nice, sincere person. She'll treat you differently because of it. But the story takes you to a number of different places. You have to deal with Toad again and his son TJ. TJ was the one who ended up finding the decapitated body, and so you can talk with him for a little bit. You go to essentially what is a strip club and talk to a guy named Georgie, who's just a dick, and you can choose how to get information out of him in one of two ways. And then you go to the final scene, which I won't get to or show right now, but that is where the game leaves off. And in terms of graphics, the game continues to excel. We have Telltale dishing out these amazing graphics. Like, they stayed true to the comic booky feel that we've seen in The Walking Dead and now in The Wolf Among Us, and it works really well with the story as it is, considering that both The Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us are based off of comic books in and of themselves. So it stays true to the origin of these stories. Gameplay-wise, it stays the same as well. You basically have different options for dialogue scenes in which you can choose, like I said before, to be either an asshole or a nice guy or just kind of in between. And that affects how people relate to you. People will remember certain aspects of the conversation or things that you say later on. Most of those aren't really dealt with here. I'm assuming that they'll take place mainly in episodes 4 and 5. The fighting is the same as well. It was a little tricky to get a hold on right away because it had been a while since episode 1 came out, so there's not really a revamped tutorial or anything to show you how to do that. But your choices from the last episode do have a impact on how this episode progresses, not in any major ways per se, because I think the story is leading you towards an ultimate goal. It's just a matter of how you choose to get there. And yeah, as a whole, I I really, really enjoyed episode 2. It is a little short, I thought, because I felt like I got through it really quickly compared to the first one. Maybe that's just because I was getting immersed into the first episode's story a lot more. But this one, we're introduced to it, we know what's happening, and so it kind of goes a lot quicker. And when the screen went to black at the end, I was surprised that it was the end of the episode. And it just made me want episode 3 a lot more. My guess is that episode 3 will probably come out in April, because I believe that they are going to be releasing episode 2 of The Walking Dead which I'll try to review on this channel. No promises on that. Episode 2 of Season 2 of The Walking Dead in March. So, and just kind of go back and forth with those until their seasons are done. And then that's probably when they'll start up Game of Thrones and the Tales from the Borderlands. Yeah, if you have played Episode 1, I don't see why you shouldn't play Episode 2. I'm sure if you have, you're just waiting for me to get to the end of this review so you can hear my thoughts on the ending. And so I will get to that now. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. And I'm going to be talking about the ending to this game very shortly. And so if you have not finished Episode 2, stop watching here. I thank you for watching. Come back once you finish it so you don't get things spoiled for you. And here we go. Now, the ending, you walk into the hotel, you see Bell working at the counter. It kind of wraps up the mystery behind what she was doing in the first one where you saw her, and then depending on your decision to tell Beast where Bell was or if you had seen her, that comes into play obviously because that's the main fighting sequence of the game is the battle against Beast. I ended up not going full out. Once he was down, I kind of backed off after I had him taken care of because he was just very confused and he wasn't actually a threat. He wasn't someone trying to kill me like in the first episode. So I just backed off and it seemed to go fine from there. You investigate the room and I feel like I don't know what would happen if you didn't put the clues together because as you can see I was putting together the clues with the storybook, and so if you pick to be like a snotty answer or a sarcastic answer instead of going with the facts, I don't know if the story would have ended any differently, but the way the game ends, if you're watching this you know, is that you find a picture of Mr. Smith, who's the person that killed Lily, the person who was glimmered up to be Snow White. You find out that it's Mr. Crane, and well, I don't actually have footage of that because my video capture thing kind of jerked off on me during the last bit of it. It does show that it's Crane, and my theory is that Crane is not the murderer. My guess is that he's being framed for it in some way. Maybe the actual killer glimmered himself up to look like Crane so that Crane would be blamed, because we see Crane break the mirror, but it could have been out of anger, and then he flees because he knows that it looks like he's the killer. So my guess for episode 3 is that Bigby finds Crane somehow and ends up killing him in some way, or the killer kills Crane in some way. And obviously I haven't read the comics, so I have no idea if Crane is in there, if Bigby is in there at all, if Snow White is. I just have no idea. So, because I know this is like a prequel series to the comics themselves, so it's hard to say. So, leave your thoughts on episode 2 and what your predictions are for episode 3 in the comments down below. I'd appreciate it immensely. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again, if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely, as always. And once again, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on gaming.
She's my Shit, Bigby.
What have you done?
What is this? Bigby.
Look what you did to the door! You can't just act like this whenever
Stand back. You don't want to see this.
Jesus Christ, Bigby. Is that you?